Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Case for Construction Culture podcast, balancing safety and accountability. I am here with Shiloh Rowe from Austin, Texas.
Thank
Shiloh,
you. Appreciate it.
welcome to
Appreciate
the
being here,
show.
Tom.
Shiloh and I are still getting to know each other, but I've learned some things since meeting him some months ago and seeing him briefly at the AGC of America's Safety Conference this summer here in Minneapolis, where I'm based. Shiloh is currently the safety director at AGC Austin and has been there about 3 years. And he's
Yep.
also, equally importantly, he's the founder of the construction, right? Founder of the Construction Veterans Reducing Suicide. He's pointing to it, everybody. Pathfinder CVRS. It's a great logo. I love the logo. And you're a Gulf War vet.
hmm
I honor that service. Injured. You served 6 years in the Army, including the Gulf War. And this is the week of Veterans Day earlier this week. So we celebrate all our vets, and especially you, Shiloh, now doing such good work in construction. And for anybody struggling with mental health or suicide in the construction world or the military world, welcome again to the
Awesome.
show.
Thank you very much. My pleasure to be here. Like I said, I met you at the AGC conference. Last I saw you, you're wearing a Superman belt and strumming a guitar for us, and so it was a little fun time out there making the conference a little lively for us. So thank you.
Thank you, Shiloh, for remembering and for noticing. So I'm curious, you have so many balls in the air. You're really an ambitious guy and you have a good heart. But what are you excited about as we move into the holidays in a few weeks here and wrap up the year? What are you thinking about now, or what are you most excited about with your work, either with AGC or with your Pathfinder CVRS group?
Well, I think so. If I think about what am I most excited about with the safety work, uh, as a safety guy, I've been in the safety industry for almost 20 years. I think it was 2006 that I started in safety,
Hmm.
um, and seeing how things have evolved and moved through. Just in the construction world, there, the new technology that we're seeing entering into the construction world, whether we're talking about the new type of hard hats, the new equipment that's out there, the new and better ways of getting things done. I'd like to talk to folks about just looking at their safety helmets. The patent for the safety helmet was from 1919. Like, I think we can do a little bit better in technology than 1919's, best efforts. Seeing the new helmets that are coming out in new technology, seeing AI in technology, whether it's helping us fill out reports and getting that done, or being able to report things back in from the field, to the camera systems that are not only watching for security, but they're able to detect, hey, there's somebody standing on top of a ladder, and they can notify those. To our driving habits, that are folks that are driving fleet vehicles with that, hey, it'll ding you when you're doing something and let you know that, hey, you're not quite as good as a driver as you like to think you are. You need to slow down, increase your braking distance, and
Uh-huh.
and seeing those things go into place. And probably the most exciting on the work level portion is seeing the new frontiers that we're seeing in mental health and construction.
Hmm.
We're seeing this new reach, this new branch that goes out. OSHA kicked off in 1970. For some of us, that doesn't seem that long ago, and others, it seems a lifetime. Um,
Hmm.
but seeing the new things that are rolling out, and learning about those things, and going, hey, there's things that we can do now to help our individuals that are working in the construction industry and mental health, as well as their physical health. So I think those would be the things I'm most excited about when I look at, safety work.
Hmm. Wow, that's a lot. Did you say 1919 helmet design?
Yeah. The
That's the
the
last.
hard-boiled hard hat. They took a leather cap and shellacked it several times till it became a hard shell, and they put a 4 points uh, uh, suspension harness in it, and that became your hard hats. So
Yeah, I'm seeing those around on bike helmets too, I think.
Yep, you see them in bike helmets. The new style of helmets are directing the force around the head and not
Uh-huh.
just waiting for something to strike on top of it. Uh,
Uh-huh.
and to do that, you do have to wear a chin strap with it to keep the
Yes.
helmet on in case you're in a fall. Lots
Yes.
of stories about it.
Yes.
So I think there's new ways. We didn't all, I remember when people were complaining about wearing seatbelts in their car, and now we do it second nature.
That's right.
Once upon a time, who in the world needs to have a phone in your pocket? Now we can't think of living without it. So, I think we're going to get used to it. And I think you're going to see those changes. And I'm happy to see them come about because the safety results will speak for themselves. It's
Yes.
saving lives.
Yes. Very good. And I admire your personal integrity, Shiloh, at having been in the military and now you're in construction and you're combining the two. And we both know very well that both military and construction has a very high rate of mental health troubles and a very high rate of suicides. You were sharing some of the numbers with me when we talked
Oh, yeah.
recently, which if you don't know them, the listeners, it is unbelievable the number. And thank God for people like you, Shiloh, and many others working hard on this new front, what you call the new frontier. And I think you're right. And there's a lot to explore. There's a lot to figure out. It is a serious problem. It's been a serious problem for a long time, and we're finally doing things about it. And from my point of view, because I know some people jump in who don't necessarily like. I don't feel I have the authority to jump in all the way. I've not been in the military, and though I've been touched by suicide, I have not had mental health challenges. So I have not jumped 100% in. I mention it in just about everything I do right now. Usually at the end of a workshop or a training, I talk about the need for having the crucial conversation. If somebody's drunk 2 days in a row, I'll give somebody maybe a pass. Maybe they were at a late night party or a bachelor party. But if it's 2 days in a row, you have to have that conversation with that person, and you have to have it skillfully. So I mention it, but your integrity shines to me, Shiloh. So I'm super happy. But I also know it's not easy. And so, what are some of the top challenges you see? And you can go with whatever you see as the most challenging part of the many worlds that you're in. What are one or two things you see as a real challenge for either you or us as an industry addressing things about safety, culture, mental health?
I think when we're looking at a lot of, because I mean, you're taking, whether you're looking at the military or you're looking at construction, you're taking those folks that are in a active, almost alpha role in things. They're your tough guys, and
Hmm.
nothing's supposed to bother them. You can whack your finger with a hammer, and you keep going. You can
Hmm.
lift those heavy loads. You can work in the cold, in the heat, and up early, and you put, you're the backbone, right? And so you get this tough guy, and we had to realize that, hey, mental health, mental stressors. I'm not even going to use mental health. I'm going to say mental stressors. What are the things that are stressing you out on the
Hmm.
job that are causing those levels of stress, anxiety,
Hmm.
to go up? And the biggest challenge I see in that is getting the proper buy-in up and down the chain of command, right? You got the guys on the bottom end of the chain, if you will, that are out there doing it, the boots on the ground, and they're like, "No, we're tough guys. We can handle that. We hang our motions on the fence. You don't bring that to work. You just get in here, get the job done, dig that ditch, set that wall, put this, lift that line, and
Hmm.
you do all of that. And then you got the at the top, but they don't need this. We don't want that, and we've always done it like this, and it's never been a problem. Well,
Hmm.
it has been a problem, and it's actually starting to come to light. And
Hmm.
we're seeing more and more of it. We mentioned numbers. At once upon a time, veterans were dying by their own hand, suicide, at a rate of 22 a day.
22. Yes, I know
And
that.
those numbers have actually come down to about 17.6. So we've got a small drop, not a lot, but
Hmm.
a small drop. But that was our veteran side. And then we took a look, our construction side was creeping up in those levels. And
Hmm.
they've reached the numbers of about six, sometimes say 7,000 people a year.
Wow.
That's an epidemic. And like,
Wow.
why is this happening? What are we doing? We're not addressing it. We're not helping with it.
Yeah.
It's being fed by alcoholism. It's being fed by drug dependency and overuse. And the reasoning behind it can go so many different ways, whether it's financial stress, isolation. A lot of those things will feed directly into it. So
Hmm.
the challenge, what's the biggest challenge in bringing this forth? How do you get the tough guy to go, yeah, I got some anger issues. Hey, I got some anxiety issues. Hey, I'm really worried about this. And whether it's based, like I said, on financial,
Hmm.
social, political, spiritual, whatever those
Hmm.
cases might be, and even physical, those
Hmm.
things can all play into that. And we're realizing that it's taking a toll and we have to do something. And so
Hmm.
we're seeing that happen more and more. And I think the change that we'll take to that is going to have to be our culture, right?
Hmm.
The way that
Yep.
we accept it and move into it. So,
Yep. I thought you were going to use the word culture. That's my next question because this is the case for construction culture, and that is the world that you play in and work in is the world of shaping culture and how people, the attitudes around mental health, which we're trying so hard to change. And there have been some changes. You and I both know some changes have been made. And you and I both know there's still some companies that are very much you pour a baby, rub a little dirt in it cultures. And then there's cultures that a little more enlightened, a little more forward thinking. But how do you define culture, Shiloh, in your world? I know it's a giant word. We throw it around a lot.
yeah,
What do you think of? What are some definitions or ideas you have around what is culture and how do you shape it?
I think we break down culture as a word, maybe look at safety culture as a subset of it. Looking at culture, what is
Hmm.
culture, in the human being realm? It's our set of values, our beliefs, our behaviors, and our attitudes.
Hmm.
That's right. It's a collective set of those beliefs. It's this collective set of
Hmm.
behaviors of how you do things, right? The culture of the military is I would say almost, again, that alpha male, that alpha attitude that's going into it. You're the leader, the person charging into the fray, and you're doing
Hmm.
all of that. Break that down to the subset there of what is safety culture and what is safety culture for construction. What does that mean?
Hmm.
How do we work with that? It's our overall culture of the industry, but the job, the company, and the
Hmm.
individual. And I think it's going to be based on what that industry, job, company, and individuals, what their actual commitment to safety is, and
Hmm.
not only their commitment, what you're saying, but what are your actions
Hmm.
towards getting that done?
Hmm.
Right. So it's
Hmm.
it's 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 all of that. I mean, that's just kind of a
Yeah. No, I think you nailed it. It's values, it's belief, it's attitudes. Somebody once said, yeah, culture, it's just that's the way it is around here. It's kind of
that's the attitude, right?
it's
that's
like the
that's the
it's like the
behavior.
it's like the water the fish swim in. You can't necessarily see it, but everybody knows what it is, and it's certainly shaped by the leadership, I think. I recently was asked to work with a company where the owner is certain that the foremen are the problem and wants me to come in and fix the foreman, even though he created the company and he's shaped the culture. The problem is the foreman, which is sort of funny to me. Um,
You grew the garden. Yeah, I can't.
how is culture is shaped, whether it's safety culture, whether it's just military culture, human culture. It's shaped in the safety construction world, I think, largely by the leaders. And then the safety professionals just carry out that vision, right? And I kind of learned this the hard way in my work because I've coached and worked with lots of safety professionals, and I've learned they are often not in a position to strongly change a culture unless they're really connected to the leadership in the C level and the owners and have really good communication and then have the support of those leaders and owners. But in your mind, what kind of training, Shiloh, have you had, or do some of your safety leaders through the AGC have to influence safety outcomes? Because that's really their job. They're trying to lower injury rates, make things safer, improve mental health, right? That's sort of another job that we all have. It isn't just PPE anymore. It's like,
Right?
oh, now the safety guy is supposed to or gal, supposed to oversee mental health. But what kind of training do you have or do you see people getting besides the School of Hard Knocks, or maybe what do you see out there for training to help people have these outcomes that are moving in the right direction?
I, I'm a firm believer in the peer-to-peer group when it comes to learning and evaluating things. Um, and, working with organizations like AGC, we all can come together, and whether that's AGC employees that are working or it's the members of AGC, we hold a monthly safety forum here. It's not a safety committee where those are, in line and in ranked and file. It's a forum. Well, we're all equal. We all talk. We're all expected to give input and take input.
Yeah.
And when we do that, you got your bases, you've got your compliance basis, but you try to make it more culture driven while keeping compliance in line.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you kind of collectively work and train on those things. Okay, here's our set of rules. Here's what we have to do, right? These are the rules and the bylaws, but how do we work beyond that? How do
Mm-hmm.
we make it real? And so, I think you say, how do you train for that? You know, well, there's compliance training that you can take. I can take a course in ladder safety,
Yeah.
but how do I drive the culture in that? And we all work together. So it's not just, oh, this guy does this. It's, everybody does this. You know that it's expected, right? And then, all right, you'll start to see changes in that way. So I like the class approach, or I like the peer-to-peer approach, coming together with
Uh-huh.
others that have had, training or even experience. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
this is what I've experienced, and this does this when you do this. You
Mm-hmm.
don't want to do that. This is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it makes compliance sense, but it doesn't make culture sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you go, okay, well, how do we stay compliant, but yet feed the culture and make it work for us in the field? And those stories are, all varying, for depending upon what you're doing. But
Yeah, I
I don't
think
know if I don't know if I've answered that question or just kind of
no, it's a tricky question because and it came from a guy named David Watts who used to work for Skanska and he's now with a different company. He used to meet with up to 200 different subcontractors that were working with Skanska on the East Coast, and he would ask them all, well, how's your safety culture? Oh, it's pretty good. What kind of training do your safety leaders have? And they almost always had none or very little training in influencing outcomes. Oh, they knew how to get compliance, or they knew the theory, how to put a ladder against a wall, how to cone a highway, how to, do proper
right.
trenching. They knew all that, right? In spades. But that is a very different animal from getting a group of guys who maybe take the shortcuts or when under stress, don't put the PPE on. How do you influence safety outcomes? That is another question. I think you're right. Peer learning is one piece of it. But I also think if you're sitting with a bunch of peers that know as much or less than you, there could be less learning. I mean, I do believe in the wisdom of the group, Shiloh, and I do believe when people come together, good things happen. But I also think it can be limited by the experience of the group. If you had a whole group of safety professionals sitting down, none of whom had more than 1 year in the industry, that'd be a different peer group than one that had a mix and maybe a
Yeah.
couple of 25-year veterans who had done their own training, who had gotten some good coaching, who had, maybe done some unusual things and gotten some, some specialized training. That's
I
an
think
interesting group to me.
I think probably what you're looking at is that those individuals that are going to go out onto the job site, they have to set the tone, right? You have to lead by example. You have to
Yes.
make it personal. Your safety guy can't show up in flip flops and yell at people for not wearing steel toes. You want to empower people to make the right choices, not just police them.
Uh-huh.
I love going onto a job site and I see somebody doing something, and I like to ask them, like, "Hey, if it was your choice, what would you need to do your job better? You tell me. You're the professional. You're the one
Yeah.
installing this, working on
Yeah.
this. I can't do what you do.
Yeah.
But if I said I could provide you with something that would make you do your job better, what would it be?" And the guys, well, I've got this 6 foot ladder. I could really use a 10 foot because I'm standing on the top. I can get it done, but I could do it better if I had the right size ladder.
Yeah.
Good. Let's start there. Let's get you the right size ladder. Let's do this.
Yes. Yes.
Or,
Better.
if I didn't have to tote the bricks all the way across the job site to where I'm going to, bricking up this wall over here, I could probably do a better job because I wouldn't waste half my time transporting back and forth. You know what? That's a great way to start. Let's see if we can get the deliveries over here versus over there and shorten that pathway that you're having to change those up.
I
So
I love the
communication.
Yeah, I love the question and the word better, not safer. And I
Yeah.
can tell by your tone of voice, Shiloh, that you're a skilled communicator because it's easy to come across as the parent when you're in the safety role. And I think a lot of safety leaders don't even realize that they are in that compliance parental role and that the tone, the more you can get a collaborative tone these days, especially, the better,
Yep.
right? And I hear your tone and I hear your language. How can we do that better? Because a lot of guys, if you come in as a safety guy, how can you do that safer? They're gonna be like, you're the safety guy. All right, all right. And then they'll give you the correct answer, and then you leave, and then they do it the way they want to do it.
But if
But
I ask them, how do you do your job better? It does two things. One, it puts pride of workmanship back in their hands,
yes,
right? And
yes,
they're like, well, if I was going to, and you can ask anybody working in construction, they'll drive. I worked on that project. I helped build that building. I helped
yes,
put that road in. I
they
did
love
that
it.
bridge.
Yeah,
They'll tell you about it, and
very
and
proud,
there's
very
pride in it.
a lot
The
of pride.
stickers on their hard hat. I work here. I work here. I worked here. I was
Yeah,
on this project,
yeah,
right? They're proud to do it. They are a proud tradesman. They put something into place. They are proud. Hey, show me your best work. What are you most proud of on this job site? Oh,
yeah,
let me show you this run of wire we did over here. Look,
yeah,
there's got 7 sweeping 90s, and in this long run, and we had to do this and put boxes here and pull, and look how perfect it's lined up. That thing is not there's not
yeah,
a 16th of an inch deviation between
yeah.
the front and the end of this. And so you ask them, all right, I see what you got going on here. If I could do something for you that would make your job better, what would it be? And most time they'll tell you,
Yeah.
and you're like, all right, I'm going to make it my job. You're going to make it your job to get you so you can give me the best thing. Give me your best effort on this job. What's it going to take to get your best work on this job?
Love it. I love it. Um, which brings up my next question, and that's, do you ever hear about the tension between doing it the best way, doing it the safest way, and doing it sort of the most productive way? Because the best way, the guy might just be like a perfectionist, and he 1/16 is too much. He wants a 1/32 of an inch clearance on that line. Um, do you ever hear about the tension and the guys saying, "Ah, man, Shiloh, I can't do it that way. It's going to take too long." Safety. I've heard it. You've heard it. I've been in the field many, many times. We don't want to work with this company. Their standards are too high. We can't get anything done. Uh, do you hear about that still down there in
Oh
Texas?
yeah,
Worlds you work.
I think you hear about that across the industry wide. They always want to counterweigh productivity with safety or
Yeah,
profitability with
yeah,
safety,
yeah,
like they're two separate things.
yeah.
Um, I took a course. We're going to talk about networking and working with leaders. We have a leader out here, a gentleman by the name of Pat Walsh. He's been in the safety industry in the Austin area forever. He keeps threatening to retire. I don't think he will. I think it's in his blood. He can't. I think I'll be shocked if he actually retires. He's threatened a couple of times, but
Yeah.
he did this little diagram, and he basically showed you a four-legged bar stool, and he goes, part of it's going to be profitability. How much profit are you making on the job? What is the time you're putting into the job? All right. And so if you cut one, you may lose on the other.
Yeah.
So it was profitability, time, value, right? Putting in quality, quality as in value,
Yeah. Yeah.
and safety.
Yeah.
And they're the four legs of this stool. And if
Yeah.
you cut any one of those legs short,
Yeah.
it's not going to be balanced. It's not going to work out. So you
Yeah.
can make it balance out. So yes, you can balance your profitability and productivity with safety. There is a
Yeah.
way to do it right. There is a way to do it safe and
Yeah.
be affordable in doing it, right? There may be overhead to get you there, but in the end, when it comes back around, when you start doing it the right way, hey, you got guys standing on top of a bucket to reach a height versus, hey, they're standing on a correct ladder to
Hmm.
reach that height. You know, well, you get a bucket that turns over, oh, I don't want to spend, that's $300 for a ladder. It's going to cost you $300 for that bucket turning over and a guy twisting an ankle. And now you got to run them to the doctor, pay a doctor bill, get an x-ray, get a splint on them, let them limp around, for a week on the job and the whole time. And then he's like, yeah, I don't want to go back out there again. And then you're going to ask him to go stand on the bucket again. He's going to be, no, right? I got hurt on that last time. So you go, did you save $300 by not buying the ladder and making them stand on a bucket? No, you lost all of that. But it's hard to see that in the foresight versus the after sight, right? You get somebody
Yeah.
that gets a lot of injuries tend to drive change.
Yeah.
And so you go, oh, because of this, now it's costing me productivity. Now it's costing me profitability. Now
Yeah.
we can, okay, we got to do this to fix it. But it can be hard to balance that out on the front side. And yeah, you hear about it all the time. So, I think you will continuously hear about it. A long, long time ago, about, I don't know, it's got to be 7, 8 years ago, uh, went to got invited. We were in a job bid, and I was working for a subcontractor, and there's other subcontractors there, and everyone's talking about how they're going to bid the job and how they're going to do this. And one gentleman, he said, if you take safety off the table, I can cut this amount out of my bill. And everyone just looked at him like, what? Like, you actually said that out loud to somebody, that you'll cut safety out and you'll save this much money.
Oh my
Well,
God.
surprisingly, that gentleman wasn't at the second round of bids, right? Yeah.
With everybody's phone recording him and Jeff Bezos wanting to sell him some stuff. I'd like to meet that Pat Walsh guy sometime, Shiloh. This sounds like an amazing safety leader in Austin.
Oh, he really is. He's been around for a long time. Great guy. Uh,
Yeah.
I'll have to when this comes out, I'll have to tag him in it and
Yeah.
let him know that we
Connect us to Pat
gave him a
Walsh.
little love out there to Pat. So
Yes, yes, yes.
if you're in the
Thank you,
Austin
Pat.
area, you know the name.
Thank you, Pat Walsh. And then we don't have to wrap up right away, but we're getting towards the end here. And I want to hear a story of a successful change effort, or maybe a failed change effort, or maybe a struggle. And I don't know if you want to talk about founding your construction veterans, reducing suicide group, or what you want to talk about. But I'm guessing you've been part of something that was a big success, or maybe a messy failure, or
Well,
something in
if
between.
I got something in mind for that. What I would say was a success, and it's going to play into the mental health realm, and it's
Mhm.
going to lead back to my military time.
Mhm.
So when I first got out of the military, and I was searching to reconnect with other veterans and just find that brotherhood that I was missing. I came
Hmm.
across this combat veteran group, and they ride motorcycles, and so I got in with them. And through that, I met another individual, Dr. Stephen Keel. And he was a major in the Army, and he got out and got his psychology degree and was practicing. And well, he put on this course for veterans on mental health awareness and, what to recognize as signs and
Hmm.
what to say and what not to say, what to do and what not to do.
Hmm.
And so I took that training and was in it with a few other friends, and it was really good stuff. We're like, wow, this is real, right? It wasn't, sitting in blue yoga pants and it was, this was real life applications of something
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
appealed to veterans. And so a couple of years down the road, a guy that was in this organization with us was a leader, and just he was a special forces guy.
Yeah.
He was older than me, but man, he was still muscled up, still high and tight haircut. Just man, everything that you picture of, hey, this guy's a true warrior, and
Yeah.
this guy is the real deal, right? You
Yeah.
didn't question it whenever you saw him when he walked in
Yeah.
the room. He drew
Yeah.
salutes kind of,
Yeah.
and he became one of our leaders of our the group with the motorcycles. And I get a call one night from him, and he's like, "Hey, um, I want to sell you my bike, dirt cheap. It's yours, incredibly cheap." Like, what? Why are you selling me your why would you sell me your motor? Well, I know you've always liked
Uh-huh.
it. I want to give it to you, and I'll
Hmm.
I'll give it to you for, okay, I'll give you this $20,000 bike for, $1,000. That's no, that don't make any sense at all. What's
Yeah.
going on? What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you planning?
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm tired. I'm ready to just walk off this earth. And he was, ready to. He was going to literally sell everything he owns, put it in a backpack, and just go disappear. And walk, go wherever he ends up. And from the sounds of it, sounded like he wanted to take his own life.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, this isn't right, brother. And learning what I had learned from uh, my friend that taught the course, I
Yeah.
was like, my other friend here with the bike, he's in trouble. And I see these signs. He's giving things away. He's talking about things and ending things. And I'm like, I need to be there immediately.
Yeah.
And so I told him, I said, hey, I'm coming over to see you. And like good veteran buddies will do, if you're coming over, bring a good bottle of bourbon and we'll drink this out. And I'm like, all right, I'll bring something to drink. So I tell my wife, I'm like, hey, I got to go see him. I don't know how long I'm going to be. It may be all night. And she's like, okay. So I jump on my truck, not on my bike, and I stop
Yeah.
by and I pick up four large coffees and put them in a little carrier. And I jump in my truck and I go. It took me about 40 minutes to get to his house. I get over to his house and pull up and where he was staying. I get out of my truck carrying four large coffees. And first off, he's ribbing and poking me for, what kind of guy shows up in a truck versus his bike. And why so I said, well, there's the only way I could carry 4 cups of coffee. I don't have four coffee holders on my bike. So he's like, coffee, where's the bourbon? And I was like, it's going to be a long night, and we're going to need the coffee. And so I walked in and we sat and talked, and we broke things down in a real stance, and we connected in a real way, and was able to talk. Yeah, he couldn't see his value. He was like,
Yeah.
I was a leader of an elite team. I did this, I did this, I did this. I led missions. I was a life taker and a life giver. I was this, and now that I'm out, he's like, I can't get a credit card because my credit's no good. I live in a garage where I'm fixing up hot rods that no one's bringing me their hot rods to fix up, and
Yeah.
and so he was having these serious problems, and with he's like, He's like, you've got everything. You've got a family. You got this, where we're looking at him going, man, you can live and go when you want, and go where you want. You got the coolest toys. It's kind of cool. You live in the same, garage where you're working, and you can go do this, and you've got all these stories, and you're freewheeling, no responsibilities.
Yeah.
And he's like, I've got no one to come home to. I've got no one to sit on the couch and watch boring reruns on TV and eat a home cooked meal and feel safe. And
Uh-huh.
so he was finding, he didn't see his value. And I was like, do you realize how everybody is looking? You do have value. You're a leader right now, and you don't even realize it. You've got a team of people that are looking for you and hold you in a highest plateau. And just for being you, you don't have to even do anything special. You can just be you. And we hold you at this position as a leader, and we believe in you, and we want you and need you. And that is your position. And so I asked him, I said, were you a one-man team? And he's like, well, no, that's why they call it the teams. I'm like, right. You never went out on mission by yourself. You didn't plan it, execute it, bring the armament, the weapons and the intel. You didn't get out by yourself. You had a team of people that helped plan these missions. I'm like, it's no different back here in the States. You have to have a team to get through. Life's a team sport. You need a team to get through that. And I said, we are your team. I'm like, I'm your commo guy. You're going to get comms from me. You're going to get communications from me. I'm going to call you every day. And I'm going to make sure that you Charlie Mike. Charlie Mike is CM, continue mission.
Yeah.
And so we really had a good breakthrough at that time. And he did see the value in himself, and he realized he was on a new mission, and it wasn't what he had before. That mission had changed. Now he's back home. And so he started getting changes in his life. He started making changes. Sure enough, I introduced him to a fine lady. They've ended up being married now.
Wow.
The past year or so, the 80th anniversary of D-Day came about. And he was a Special Forces paratrooper, and he got into recreations, military recreations. I get a phone call. My phone rings, and it's him. He's like, "You're never going to guess where I'm at." I'm like, "There's no telling. Where are you at?" He goes, "I'm in Normandy for the 80th anniversary." I'm like,
Wow.
"No way. So cool." And he goes, "Wait." He turns the camera on, turns the phone around. He's in the plane, and he's surrounded by other guys wearing period gear, and they're parachuting in to Normandy.
No.
He was one of the parachutists, recreators that dropped in
Wow.
to recreate the D-Day in Normandy. And I was like, man, what a great life. Again, we all want to be
Wow.
you. And
Wow.
he's like, well, I got to go, brother. I got a Charlie Mike. And so, he ends his phone calls. We end our phone calls with each other that way.
Oh
And so
man.
to me, that was a success story, right? Using that knowledge and that training that I got to help a brother out that was a boots on the ground right there beside me type of guy. And we worked through it, and life became better for us both. I took that same idea and mantra for covers. I want it to be a peer-to-peer. I want to be able to bring the training that an individual needs in the field, the guy that's in the ditch with you, the guy that's hanging drywall next to you, the other electrician that's pulling wire, the guy that's bringing the bricks for you to set up your masonry, right? I want you both to have the training and the knowledge to help each other out to move forward so you can continue on. And in the covers program, I like to use the term forging the front line. And that's what I want. And that's what we're doing. And when you receive that training through our covers program, covers construction veterans reducing suicide,
Yeah.
once you receive that training, then you receive your Pathfinder tab, because now you're helping somebody find that path out of darkness.
Man, that is a great story, Shiloh. Thank you for sharing that. You have clearly helped to save a life. And I love the Charlie Mike. You could write a book called How to Get Charlie Miked, or I mean that is a
It's a term that's used frequently all over. I think there's an organization that's out there that's already kind of coined it as their own, so
Yeah.
I can't do that.
Yeah.
But it's Charlie Mike is used in the military. It's used all over, so it's not new, but it does apply if you can continue mission. So the mission that I'm looking at for our guys, I said, well, I'll coin my own phrase, and we came up with "Forge the Front Line." So
I love it. I
Charlie
love
Mike
it.
still applies, and when my buddy calls, I'll share the story with them about this podcast, and we'll end our phone call with it.
It's a great story. Thanks for sharing that. Thanks for contributing so much to what you're doing at the AGC, to what you're doing at Covers. If people want to find you, Shiloh, what's the best way to find you out there? Where should they go?
So we've actually, so I can receive the training to give the people, we had to take the idea in the program and turning into a 501c3. So
Yeah,
we actually have a web page. So if
yeah,
you went to cvrs-us.org, we have a web page up for the covers program. And then for on the construction side, there's always going to be
yeah,
agc.org.
yeah.
And for the national.
CVRS, CVRS-us.org, right?
Yes,
Try to
sir.
try to put that into the link when we post this. So unless there's anything else you have to say,
Well, thank you all. Happy Veterans Day to everybody.
yes.
Hope you have a blessed Thanksgiving and Christmas, and continue on to the new year. You can Charlie Mike as well, and you can help forge that front line. So thank you all. Thank you, Tom, and see you out there.
Amen, Brother Shiloh. Thank you so much. Signing off, everybody.